This is a test of the City of Palatka audio system.
Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and start this meeting. We'll call to order our meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency for June 13th, 2022. At this time, we'll have our invocation and our pledge of allegiance. Commissioner Jones, will you lead us in the invocation?
Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for bringing us together and forming here. Also, yeah, one for today.
Amen.
Amen.
Join us in the pledge allegiance.
Just to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Mayor Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Will Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Justin Campbell,
President.
Commissioner Rufus Forum,
Present.
Commissioner Jeff Rawls,
I'm here.
Commissioner Tammy McCaskill, absent.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the April 11th minutes?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. We'll now open the floor for public comments. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken on topics of discussion. Is there anyone here for public comment at this time? Seeing no one. Public comment. We'll move on to our regular business. Regular business, item number 4 of the agenda, item 1 under item 4, recommendation of CRA Governing Board, community representative appointment. Our current nominees are Dennis Kemp, Sam Deputy, Teresa Jackson, and Annie Swetlick. Are there any applicants present? I see Ms. Swetlick here. Is there anyone else present at this time? You want to come forward and introduce yourself? I think we all know you very well, Ms. Annie.
Good afternoon, my name is Annie Swetlick. I live at 511 North Street here in Palatka. I've been a resident of Palatka for more than 20 years. I really don't know all that much about CRA, but what I do know is about the grants that were given years ago, and I would like to see that reinstated, but that's another issue. But, you know, I've been in this neighborhood, I know most people, so that's why.
It's not, it's actually it's the next item on the agenda. So the grant process, we're actually on the next item, we're actually taking nominations for individuals who want to be on the committee as it relates to those programs as well. So just want to give you that information too.
Okay.
Mayor Hill.
Yes.
I believe that we all received an email from Mr. Deputy. I don't know if that needs to be read into the minutes or with regards to his absence and his position with regards to this item that we talked about.
Mayor Hill, if I may, I've also received an email from Denise Kemp, who's serving on a federal jury duty and could not be with us today.
All right. Anything else from you at this point?
No, so later I have a little report, so that comes up later.
You have a report for the North Historic?
Yeah,
Okay, then come up later.
Okay.
Come up later.
thank you.
Okay, we'll read those emails just so we have those at this time.
This is from Mr. Sam Deputy at 10:36 a.m. today. Good morning. As always, you are just pure sunshine in into our city. Thank you for the notice about the open position for the CRA. I would be delighted and proud to serve on this board. Unfortunately, I'm not able to be present tonight at the meeting. After 57 years, we're retiring and closing graphics too. When we made the announcement, we were hit with enough work to last us for months to come. To keep our word, we're accepting work until this Thursday and then going to finish by June 30th. Our schedule is full to the brim as we close this business, clean out our warehouse, which is up for sale, and keep word to our customers. If chosen, I will be delighted to sever the city of Palatka in this position. Thanks, Sam Deputy, owner of Graphics 2, and his family.
Next email.
Yes, sir. This is from Miss Denise, it says Miss D and MissDSquilts.com, dated June 6th at 7:55, regarding CRA board application, CRA meeting June 13th. Good evening. Thank you for reaching out to me about the CRA. I would very much like to continue working with the board while representing the Central District. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the June 13th meeting. I am participating in a federal jury in Jacksonville 5 days a week. We have been instructed to expect to be in attendance through the end of the month and possibly into July. Most afternoons were released just after 5. I will make every effort to call in while driving home. Although depending on traffic, this may be a challenge. Again, thank you for providing notice, Denise. End of email.
I'm in a position.
Just one position available. The position that was historically a downtown Palatka position is available. The position was once held by Ms. Kemp and Mr. Deputy, whose term Mr. Deputy resigned previously. And Ms. Kemp previously sat in that same position. And so this is where we are. The two newcomers are Ms. Jackson and Ms. Svetlik.
We have a representative from each district, so
There isn't a representative from any district. The Central Business District was the only district technically that had a representative. It was a downtown business person. There's never been a representative from North or South on the board in that capacity. It was an individual that was from the business sector. And there was always a representative from the county commission. So historically, it was someone on the county commission who represented District 3 for a long time, and then District 3 was not interested in serving. Mr. Sugg served at some point after Mr. Leibel, and so it went from there to Commissioner Ross being the individual who was interested in being on the CRA from the county commission. And so those were the two additional seats as in addition to the city commission. So we've never had anyone from North Historic or South Historic per se. You've had individuals who lived in the South Historic who's represented the Central Business District, and you've never had anybody who was in the North Historic District at all.
Is there any reason why they couldn't be?
Be a matter of expanding the board. It'd be the pleasure of this agency as to whether the board could be expanded or maximized.
So the position we're looking to fill is for the central TIF?
The position we're willing to fill right now is basically in that large position, which historically has been a central TIF person or DPI representative.
But if we had somebody for the North or South District,
They could fill the same position.
then we would not.
So
expand
Ms.
the board.
Svetlik is in the Northern TIF district,
Correct.
and Ms.
Ms. Jackson.
is technically in the Central Business District. She just bought the property, what's the old Calvary Baptist Church building on 10th Street.
Okay.
So at this point, we'll have discussion or have a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Is Ms. Jackson here?
Ms. Jackson isn't here today.
I think, speaking just for myself, it would be a lot easier if we could interview the people. I'm having a hard time reading what was written. I got terrible handwriting myself, but I don't think there's enough information on here. You know, last time when we had the gentleman that applied, he had a lot of good credentials, but apparently there was a conflict with his full-time job.
He worked for, he worked
Yeah.
for federal government.
So it seemed like he had a lot of useful skills as well. I wonder if it wouldn't be better for us to try to hold interviews if we're going to do that.
Was any other comments at this time?
I mean, I would like to hear from the candidates personally. So, person just reading something on paper, like to kind of have a little bit of dialogue with.
Did they not know that we were going to put this on the agenda for tonight?
Right. It was on the agenda. It was continued from the last time. So
We can maybe extend it. Is it something that has to be done tonight?
you can make a motion. You can make a motion.
I make a motion to table to the next meeting, the next CRA meeting, to give those individuals an opportunity to come in and interview. And if they don't do it during that time, then so be it.
I'll second that.
There's a motion on the floor. The second, is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Oppose, nay. Motion passes 4-1. Moving on, recommendation for tax increment advisory committee appointments, building improvement grant application update. Current nominee is Lysandra Williams. And so, just as a point of information, this is the item we had on the agenda. We're requesting recommendations from every member of the agency to appoint someone to come in and be a part of the advisory committee to review the applications during the 2 cycles that we have available. Ms. Williams was nominated by Commissioner Jones, and every other person on the agency was asked to have a recommendation. My recommendation, I'll go ahead and put it on the record, is John Vanderwerf. Was a local business owner here and owns several properties in downtown, as well as other places in the community. Are there any other recommendations from the agency at this point?
Well, I had Wayne McLean.
My recommendation is former Commissioner James Norwood.
I'm Gabe McKinnon, but I spoke to him Saturday, I believe, and looks like he originally said yes, but he said no, he thinks it'll be a conflict for him. So he's saying no, so I'll have to find someone else.
Okay.
Why is it only one name that made it on the, well, actually, yeah, one nominee made it on the,
By the time the agenda was printed, they hadn't been there.
so was it a late entry of the, well, it's not an entry because they're not on
It's
here.
not, it's because those names hadn't come up,
I didn't hear you say.
because the names hadn't come up before the agenda was printed. Let the record reflect Commissioner McCaskill is here. Hey, good to see you, Commissioner. Just for the record, what we're discussing the item for the tax increment advisory committee. Every person on the agency was requested to have a name in, and so we just went kind of around the room. Commissioner Jones's recommendation is here, which is Miss Lysandra Williams. There were and so we don't know I don't know if you had a recommendation already. Do you have someone that you have in mind? Desiree Atkins. Okay. And so we've got the list. Commissioner Rawls is the only person with his vast Rolodex who has to figure out who he wants to nominate.
Like I said, Sonny called me last week and said that she had not received his paperwork. When I called him, he said, let me think about it. And then he came back with it. He thought that it'd be a conflict for him, so we had to pull it.
Okay, so we've got nominations from the committee at this time, from the agency at this time. Is there a motion as to the nominations that are already in place? And then we can take Commissioner Rawls's appointment at a later date.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendations that have been made at this time, giving Commissioner Rawls the opportunity to fill his recommendation, I guess, as soon as he can.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor in a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Moving on, fiscal year 2021, 2022 CRA TIF budget amendment, proposed recommendation for city commission to adopt and recognize additional revenue from benches, $3,700. Ms. Shank.
Commission, during the budget cycle, we did not actually budget this revenue. So at this time, we are going to recognize the money that was received for the benches and reallocate it to the same exact expense line, which will allow us to purchase more benches should we have additional people come in. At this time, we've used up all of our budget. So if we had a citizen come in and they wanted to buy a bench, we wouldn't have the budget capacity to do so.
Any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion to accept staff recommendation is a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on, SBDC report, second quarter, October 1st to March 31st. Mr. Paul. Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I hope everybody's well. Some interesting things here. I keep track of some of the metrics and I just wanted to go over those. So some of the things that I've been putting on and hosting and so forth in the community. This is just year to date from January of this year up and through the beginning or the end of May. So the metrics are basically, some of them apply to us, some of them don't, but basically there've been 104 events that I've been involved with during that time. I'm averaging 21 events per month. Now, some of those events are outreach, meeting with bankers, meeting with committees and things along those lines. So the total has been 54 outreach events year to date. Posting on LinkedIn and places like that were 22 times. I've had 6 what they call socials, entrepreneurship socials. Officially, we call at the SBDC, we call those pop-up shops. But it's basically the same thing where we show up and advertise that we'll be there and have people come in. Some of those have been very successful with, that's about 18 or 22 people. Most recent one I held was at TD Bank. And we got a couple clients that way. And it's a good way for people to come in and see us without having to become a client. They just have questions. So that's what a lot of the pop-up shops, we call them, are. They've been 5 workshops, professional development, of course, and then 4 teaching engagements. So we've got some other workshops scheduled. The next workshop is going to be on July 12th. And that is how do you start a small business workshop? So that's going to focus on whether you're starting one from scratch, purchasing an existing one, or you're thinking about franchising. We cover all of those areas. So that'll be at the Chamber of Commerce on the 12th. I do not have the flyer for that yet.
So you don't have the time? Is it 6?
Oh, it'll be 5:30 to 6:30 on July 12th at the Chamber of Commerce. And the flyer is still in the works. Our marketing person's kind of all.
Are you gonna do that one online as well?
No, I've decided not to do them online.
After the Zoom catastrophe?
Yeah, that happened 2 or 3 times and I never could figure it out. I'm not an IT person. I apologize for that, but there was some sort of feedback that happens and sorry about that, but we tried it. We had it a couple times and that was Commissioner Jones' recommendation and we had it a couple times. It works good if I have somebody managing it for me.
Right.
But I don't have that. So it's just me trying to do everything. So it kind of is a lot to do. So a couple other things. I don't know if you're aware or not. I have what's called a CGBP. So that's Certified Global Business Professional. And that's hundreds of hours worth of study and work and so forth. I've renewed that. So I'm available for business consulting for import-export businesses. And I believe my predecessor had that also and did some import-export work here in Putnam County. And then finally, I'd like to say, and I have some handouts here for the audience members. Hand those out. That's the business climate survey for the incubator meeting through A&E Engineering. As you know, we held an event, what was it, last Wednesday evening, I believe it was, with A&E Engineering, and some of you attended. Thank you very much for attending. We had 33 people show up for that. And I believe that was a good meeting and got a lot of good feedback on that. So keep them really busy with, meeting with people and trying to advise them on small business matters. I've got some people to the finish line again for loans, but once you get them to the finish line, now it's between the potential small business owner and the bank as to whether or not they just, get all the way to getting the loan approved or not. So got a few people in that category too. So with that, are there any questions?
Any questions from the agency? Thank you very much.
Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you. Ms. Svetlik, Northern TIF.
I didn't know that I would be here tonight, so I'm just going to read my email that I sent to SUNY on May the 20th. And I said to SUNY, "Hi SUNY, I might not be available June the 13th. Here are my 2 cents. Does anyone of the North Historic District put in an application for the Building Improvement Grant Cost Share Program?" SUNY, did anyone?
Sunny.
SUNY, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's my accent. I'm so sorry. Did anyone put?
You have an accent?
Sonny, can I ask you a question?
What's your question?
Well, if someone put in an application from our North Historic District area for the Building Improvement Grant Cost Share Program, I thought the deadline was like May the 20th.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay. So if no one did,
then no one would get anything.
I
Until
know.
they would
but
have to wait until the
that's
next
where-
cycle.
That's where my problem is. I spoke with one neighbor who would have liked funds for a fence, but he cannot come up with his financial portion. So he did not bother to submit an application.
He's been in here as well.
I know. He had put in an application years ago when we had the TIF HIP program. This was a better program since homeowners could get a grant up to 10,000, I believe, without having to contribute. He feels that his application should have been grandfathered in. Many people in my neighborhood got this grant, but
It's been already addressed.
he has been left out.
We've addressed it while he was here. He was here and he spoke
Okay,
during
okay,
public comment.
I'm nearly done.
But I just want to give you the information because
Okay,
you were
thank
not here when he was here. He's made those comments during
Yeah.
public comment. It was
Okay.
addressed ad nauseum when we talked about modifying the programs to get to where we are. So I know exactly who you're talking about. And those comments were heard by the agency and they were addressed by the agency at that time. And he was advised that under the new program, he could reapply. But there was no grandfather because the program that existed at that time no longer exists. So it can't be
Right.
grandfathered if it no longer
Okay.
exists.
Well, then he should have informed me about.
He may
it.
not have understood, but
Okay,
we,
okay.
you know, we tried to talk to him and he, and then initially he was a little frustrated, but
Yeah,
we tried to talk to him about it. But
Okay.
the explanation is that program does not exist in the same light. This is an
I know.
entirely new program which incorporates all of the programs into one
Right.
thing now.
okay, well, let me finish just two
Go ahead.
sentences. Not really, many people in my neighborhood got this grant, but he has been left out, not really fair, I think. The application says the program is intended to encourage the redevelopment of blighted residential and commercial properties. Most of the time, when you have a blighted property as a homeowner, it means that you do not have the funds to fix it up. I would like to see the TIF-HIP program reinstated to what it was. Regards, Ennis Wetland.
And then the question becomes that does a fence necessarily
Yeah,
fall
that's
into that
something.
category? A fence is a
Right.
luxury, not necessarily a necessity.
I know, but there are people that, you know.
I get it every day. I
Yeah.
just paid $6,000 for one, so I get it. And I
Okay.
didn't get a penny from anybody, but I get it.
Okay, good. Well, that's fine. Okay.
If I may just answer her question, there was someone from the North District that put in an application. But if I may also, another thing, we did receive 2 applications that were submitted past the deadline, and those 2 will be submitted, returned and opened.
So you had 1 make it and 2 were late
Okay, one made it.
and 2 missed the deadline, but they can reapply for the next cycle.
And when is the next one?
Just get with staff and they'll inform you. 2 cycles. I think the next one comes up for September. Anything else? We have a South TIF representative. Anything from Revitalize? All right. From the agency, Mr. Holmes, you got anything else from staff side? Just, I got Ms. Gano and Mr. Griffith in here. As the St. John's Avenue is, and the surrounding streets are well underway. We see potable water lines coming everywhere. Can someone give us a quick project update and what we can expect and what are the phases? So just, you can give us the abbreviate, you can give us the 1,000-foot version.
So let's talk about the potable water line project first. That is going down in the downtown area. There's a total of 32 blocks that need to be, have the potable water. I have examples of some of the potable water lines they pulled out of in my car, and we all need to be very thankful that they're being replaced.
You left them in your car?
Anyway, so as of our last, we are 81% complete. We have 6 blocks to go in that downtown area. There are multiple stages. I mean, I know a lot of people, I'm getting a lot of calls about the crew came through and tore it up and when they haven't been back. Well, they put the pipes in the ground, they install the pipes, and they have to be chlorinated, pressure tested. Those test results have to go back to the state agency or to be approved. In the meantime, they hook all the services for the homes. They don't hook those up until everything's finalized. And then they connect to the existing network, and then they start the reconstruction with the roads and the bricks. So it's painful. It's been a good, but it is not as disruptive as the St. John's Avenue Streetscape project will be. So, So St. John's Streetscape, that has just, the bid documents are being prepared. That's going to go out to bid. It, I think eminently, if it didn't make it today, it'll be early this week. We have a 45-day period for responses. If everything goes well with that, we would look, if we get responsible bids, if they are within the budget, if we're able to award them, work would start September, October of this year. The project is slated to take 1.5 years. We have a lot of constraints in the bid documents where, the whole road isn't going to be torn up. They're working, in areas. I've been out meeting with each one of the business owners on the street, telling them what's coming. They have my name, my card. I did promise to come back with copies of the bid, once we had the bid documents, so I can really share in writing exactly what's being communicated, the requirements to the contractors.
Any questions?
Well, I mean, I think that's really good information. It's hard for me to kind of soak it all in. So is there any way we can get a report, like a status report on that from what you just?
You want the progress sheet? You want just
We
the
want what she
stages?
just- whatever she just reported. I mean, I like to see that. Right.
Some, okay,
Yeah.
They got that timeline. Just share the. share
great,
the-
idea, great
And
idea.
you're actually trying to set up like portals. So there's actually a portal trying to be set up through some additional software. So you can actually go in and see what's
Yeah.
going on with projects.
Like you did. But appreciate it. Thanks for the good work. I know y'all are really tapped out, maxed out, whatever. So
Excited to do it, excited to get it done. I think with a lot of communication and planning, we can really minimize. You know, my own personal experience, I had both knees replaced. It was disruptive, but whenever you come out on the other end of it, you know, better than I've ever been. So
all right.
thank you.
All right.
Any other? All right. The other phase of St. John's Avenue, we'll talk about that on a different day. And want to give an update on the boats? I'll let you do it, Mr. Griffin.
Ms. Cano has been coordinating with Palatka Boathouse Marina. I believe they're setting a date for the end of the month to do the drills and the man overboard tests that are necessary to get Coast Guard certification. And currently working with another company to get certificate of documentation so that we will have a vessel that we can actually use.
Any questions?
The second boat or the first boat? Yep.
The second boat.
Second boat.
Yep.
Yeah, because they use it quite a bit during the.
Right, I'll do that process on that.
All right. Good deal.
All right. Commissioner Ross. Anything?
Can we get a brief update on the Blue Crab? I just haven't heard anything. It seemed like it was a really good event. It seemed like it was very well attended and
We don't have anything but estimates on numbers, but I think it's fair to say that I've been an overwhelming success. I am aware of only complaints. One person was not happy with the logo, which is on the shirts. And I just didn't like the style of the logo. And then actually, I'm going to one thing that I was made aware of. Attendance was good. The feedback has been good. Actually, if you just go by word of mouth and just personal experience, the exposure for Palatka, the city, the county was fantastic. We had at the upper level of the River Center, we had multiple people there from businesses that aren't currently located in Palatka who expressed a lot of positive things about Palatka and their desire to be here, even down to some of the people who are working the event. Even as some of the people who are working the event who expressed their surprise at the fact that Palatka has changed as much as it has in their eyes from where they were. In terms of our numbers, we haven't finished totaling everything. It looks like we're going to be, it doesn't look like we're going to be in the hole on money, but it doesn't look like we're going to make a lot of money either on the deal. But personally, and I know this is in everybody's eyes, the beholder, but the exposure from my perspective was invaluable from my perspective. And so I think the event coordinator, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, Ceballero, I'll get it, Janetta. I thought she did an awesome job bringing her acts together, the food vendors. There are obviously some things. We've had 2 after action committees or after action meetings, one with staff only, one with all of us. We obviously have a list of things that we think we could do better next year because you can always do things better. But in terms of the 75-day response to the command that was given, I thought it was awesome.
I've heard nothing but accolades. If there was a complaint, it was about the price of the food, but I think that's just the economy that we live in right now. Everybody's got to set their pricing and, to meet their profit and overhead. But I think going forward, you've got a lot of time between now and then next year. So I couldn't imagine the event being any smaller. And I will remind you that the county spends about the same amount of money on that one bass tournament. And I think,
As a total budget.
yeah, and exposure for exposure, we probably had a lot more exposure from the blue crab event. There was a lot of people.
We agree with that.
I went down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at different times, and I think the waterfront area was the kids. You had a really good turnout. A lot of kids playing down there and having a good time. A lot of families down there. So from what I could see, it seemed like a very successful event, but I didn't know the numbers from the inside.
And if I can take the privilege of commending our staff, we had people who spent long hours down there, our sanitation, streets and water. We had people down there early in the morning till midnight at night. We had people who made their last run with the garbage cans at midnight and were back the next morning with a street sweeper. We had finance, we had clerk, we had multiple commissioners. We just had a whole lot of people down there that put in a lot of time in addition to the event coordinator, our police, our fire, quite frankly, the private security. We had not one reported incident of any sort of a problem with a security person. And if you've ever been around many of those events, you know that that's oftentimes a source of concern. I don't know if you could have drawn it up and told me that was going to be the result. I would have told you it was a smashing success. I'll not say anything further.
And kudos to all the volunteers who were out there as well.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think the difference between Bassmaster Elite and Blue Crab is Bassmaster Elite reaches millions of people who could potentially come to Palatka, but Blue Crab brings people to Palatka.
Right.
And that potential is a reality. And I don't think you could hire a marketing company to get as many people in for that within that period of time, over an extended period of time that you can get in, that you're drawing with that one weekend. There were folks came in from Maine and New York and South Florida who had no ties or family in Putnam County. They just saw it online. And so it was a team effort. I think it was a community-wide effort, a county-wide effort. And it was done in a short frame of work. And
I think that's where y'all get the biggest kudos that you're able to pull this thing together. I'm looking forward to next year. I would encourage y'all, if nothing else, to definitely consider doing it again.
We met with the coordinator today and plan to have her in front of the commission. If she can't be there personally because of the commitment, then we'll at least plan to have the item in front of the commission on the 23rd for the commission to give us direction as to moving forward.
With the 1-year option on the contract.
Yes, sir.
Any involvement from the DPI on that, or potential involvement?
From DPI, I think DPI is a different name now. It's just a different acronym. Different letters.
But I mean, as far as, I don't know if there was this time, but typically in the past, there's been an issue with businesses being able to get to be open during that event. But
one of the things that we talked about was getting more involvement from the merchants and also looking for greater opportunities to create draws into the local businesses. A lot of local businesses indicated that they had a lot of walk-up traffic as a result of the festival, just making sure that from a positioning standpoint that everything's kind of coordinated, and then also opportunities for those who want to create pop-up shops within the other areas themselves, as opposed in addition to their storefront, that they have those available.
And the other thing I'd like to bring up, I was at a farmer's market last weekend or weekend before last in Crescent City. And someone was asking me why we don't have one in Palatka. There used to be one at the courthouse. Farmer's market. They've got one they've been running for a couple of months in Crescent City. It's starting to gain traction.
There's someone that just came to TDC and spoke of doing a farmer's market at the courthouse again just recently. And so that came up as a conversation, but also in the resurfacing at the Price Martin Center, one of the proposals for that project was to be able to do farmers markets there. And that was one reason that the purpose papers were put in place So it would create opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good opportunity, especially for small cottage type folks that may be looking to make or sell some wares. And, right now we're just kind of in a real storm financially and looking at the markets, and it looks like there's a correction coming. So typically farmers markets like that would do real well in this type of environment. It would also do well for the people that attend that. It gives us something to do once a month, get out.
Yeah,
buy
there's
some locally
a
sourced
group
and-
working on one though.
Yeah, okay, that's all I got.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner McCaskill? Commissioner Boyle?
Just one word again for the Blue Crab Festival. Just if I can describe it in one word, it was phenomenal. And, just kudos to the staff and all the organizers, the event coordinator, just a phenomenal job. If you just were here, you can see how the traffic just lined up all the way across. We had record crowds for a number of days. So that's certainly a lasting memory in my mind. And we had people, investors actually came in and were looking at some buildings downtown. So it really made a major draw. And the city stood up big time in terms of making the investment, the necessary investment to pull this thing off. I'd like to thank all the other contributors, the businesses that helped contribute to make this thing work, and looking forward to the next one coming. And I think we want to have a lot more people want to come on board to help with this. Again, I want to thank the staff and everybody else who helped make this a huge success. And that's all I have.
We didn't realize you could dance like that.
I just every now and then I'll do something here and there.
Mr. Campbell?
I would just echo the sentiments of Commissioner Borum. Just to see how everything came together was just mind blowing. I was probably one of the ones that, along with Mayor Hill, that was there throughout the day, side by side with staff, and just seeing how they responded to just everything, last minute requests, just everything just came together. And I think that has set the standard. I often say it kind of started with the mayor's reception, and then we had now the Blue Crab. So people are expecting great and bigger things from the city, especially with regards to the Blue Crab. I'm happy that it returned. I'm happy that we were able to get people out of the house after being in the house for 2.5 years, and just seeing people mixing and mingling of all race backgrounds, co-mingling. That really did my heart some good, and I think it did good for the citizens of Palatka and those that visited. So I'm grateful, I'm happy, and I'm optimistic to see what the future is going to look like with regards to the Blue Crab Festival.
Commissioner Jones?
I don't have anything further than that.
Yeah. Nothing else really needs to be said about Blue Crab. I'm excited about the summer concert series. So the Arts Council has summer concerts. They'll be in downtown throughout the summer. It's a longstanding tradition, sponsored by funding from the commission as well as from various businesses throughout the community. It really focuses on local talent, and it's a draw. I think also, as we look at what goes on with Food Truck Fridays and things of that nature, there's an opportunity for us to continue with programming in our downtown area, in our central business district, to continue to draw even during the times of construction. The one thing that I want to see us do more than anything is make sure we get the signage up in the various locations so that people won't ask what's going on. They'll know what's going on based upon the signage that we put in place. Just a very proactive step for us to get that in place. Again, pardon our dust, we're re-shining the gym of the St. Johns River. And it's where local food truck vendors come out on Fridays. It started out as a lunch event put on by Community Affairs and the Recreation Department. And local food truck vendors will come to the riverfront. They may have music or something else that goes on during that time period. And people come out, they start out having lunch, and now they're doing evening events as well. So it draws them to the riverfront as a whole. We can
with one of the food truck Fridays, we're actually, we had a movie night that was planned that we had to cancel due to the COVID numbers. But we're looking to attach that to one of the truck Fridays over the summer. And the awesome thing about it, it's not only happening here in the city of Palatka. Palatka actually does it on the opposite weekends that we do it. So it's something that's becoming very much popular in our area.
And we like, it's been right on the riverfront historically over the last 3 or 4 times. And what we're seeing, to give an example, we like is bringing like 500 people into one of their parks on a regular basis. And it's just, and they've got roughly 5 or 6 food trucks that's there. They got a DJ playing and people are gathering. And so we can create it. We can do it on the downtown block. We can do it on the riverfront. And it just creates an opportunity to have a matriculation of people into one area. And so that you can have food choices and some of the other things. The riverfront was the choice because it didn't impede other restaurants that were in some of the other areas in downtown.
I know that there can be some strife between brick and mortar, but I like. If there's any way to, there used to be like a wine social, wine street.
You should be on Third Street.
Like that, we incorporate that, we have food trucks downtown. But I think that thing- they do it in St. Augustine. One time. Ticket. Food trucks. It's a fair large fundraiser.
And Synergy Construction can actually sponsor the music as well.
Roberta Correa, 118 Dodge. Just to mention, Revitalized Historic Palatka has historically done the wine strolls, and we will be starting up again in the fall. We had, of course, not done them during the whole time of the pandemic, but we will be starting up again, and we're also going to be doing art walks as well, and have local artists and some of the businesses. And the first Saturday of every month, we already do Shop the Blocks, where we have musicians and all the stores that we can encourage to be open for people to come through. But we will be doing the wine strolls again.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? Seeing none, we will stand adjourned.